you have one time to nail this, right? One bad experience, they won't come back. They'll have 10 good experiences and they still might not come back. Maintaining some hope, the supply is gonna get fixed. I mean, we've been through these ups and downs. It just hasn't been this aggressive and this often. I was in a restaurant in downtown Summerlin, my busiest restaurant, and it was me on my laptop and one other customer. And it was like a Wednesday, like a poppin' day for us. And I'm just like, whoa. That's when reality started to strike for me. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs like, no, I have to get paid for this. I have to get paid for that. Like, I'm not gonna do it for free. I can't devalue myself. Hey man, like if you can't do that, then you don't understand entrepreneurship. You give a lot of free time away.
Welcome back, everyone. Joining us is Josh Molina, the visionary founder and owner of Makers and Finders, one of the most influential and trailblazing Mexican-inspired restaurants in Las Vegas. With 3 thriving locations, Josh has not only redefined the local culinary scene, but also overcome incredible challenges along the way. In this episode, we'll dive deep into his entrepreneurial journey, the real costs of running a successful restaurant, and the wisdom he's gained through the ups and the downs. I want to touch on this while this is the time that we're in the world right now. Tariffs, bro. Is it or was it a challenge for you to overcome like inflation and food costs? And did tariffs have any effect on you and your restaurants?
Yeah, I mean, tariffs, inflation before the tariffs, it's been, since 2022, it's been a crazy journey for us. I wouldn't say we've overcome it. We're still running up that hill. Yeah. We were very focused on not passing, these costs to our customers right away. We wanted to ride it out as long as we could when inflation happened, because we started getting hit in 2022. And then, the egg prices skyrocketed. I mean, we're paying almost close to $1 per egg, which destroyed us as a brunch restaurant, right? So we tried our best to hold off, and, we're at a point now, 2.5 years later, and then coffee is our other strength, which, we roast our own coffee in Chinatown. That's another location. I don't know if I've told you about that one. That's Take It Easy Roasters in Chinatown. So we roast our own coffee. So we've been buying green coffee, and then that got hit with tariffs, right? So it's been tough, man. I mean, coffee is over doubled in price. Wow. Yeah. And that's, from the farm directly, which should be like the lowest costing, because I'm buying it green and I'm roasting it myself. Mm-hmm. But even that cost is, just to give you some perspective, what used to cost me about $2.50 a pound is close to $6 now.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we've had to, make some changes without compromising quality, and just get clever. At the end of the day, we want to bring value to our customer, and that's why they keep coming back to us. Make sure the atmosphere is great, the service is great. We preach this to our team all the time. You have one time to nail this, right? If one bad experience, they won't come back. They'll have 10 good experiences and they still might not come back, So, it's been challenging, but, we're working with our culinary team and our management team. We've been able to overcome it and, fight through it without compromising the quality.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's an incredible story, and just like the information on the inside track that you're able to give to people, because I had no idea. Would that be a reason you think that all these Starbucks are closing down, is because the double of what it costs per pound buying coffee?
Yeah, I mean, it's many factors, but one, cost of goods, right? COGS in our world, cost of goods sold. That's been really hard to manage. And then also labor, of course, the labor market is finicky right now. And so we've had to, increase our wages just so we can stay competitive. And then now, sales have gone down because everyone's feeling it, man. I'm speaking from a business perspective, but as a person,
right.
Even as an individual with a family, things are really hard. Utilities are up. Yep. Every bill that you can think of has gone up.
Yeah.
And then, it's December 2025. So I'm already starting to get those emails. Hey, you're going to get an increase in January 1
right.
from, my internet, this, that, the other. So I get it. We're all, it's a struggle for all of us. But I take the responsibility of being a business owner. I have over 100 employees.
Come on now.
I mean, I have a lot of families on my back. So I want to make sure I do my best for them. And I think that's what's, a lot of businesses, not just Starbucks, but a lot of small businesses are closing. I was with my wife last night and I was just scrolling through Instagram, and every, this small business is closing here. And it's not just Vegas, I'm looking at it and we're closing here, we're closing there, and they're mostly small businesses. Right. So if Starbucks is feeling it,
absolutely,
of course the little guys are going to feel it even worse.
No, dude, that is, while you were talking, I was going back to think, I was like, egg prices, what are you talking about? I forgot.
Yeah.
Eggs were crazy.
I wish I could forget.
Yeah, right. Dude, I remember going to the grocery store to get eggs and there was none. Yeah. Like, I didn't even think about what it's like being on your side and having that being a brunch spot, right? You have to have it. People are literally waking up out of bed, asking their friends and family, like, hey, where are we going to go have breakfast? They think of you guys. And the number one delicacy, bro, you know what I mean, is eggs. Yeah. So it can't be like something you're just like, oh, we're going to wait and we'll get some more next week, or we'll wait until the food cost goes down. You can't play that game because they're coming to you.
Yeah.
What was that like, trying to like walk through those waters? I know you said you didn't want to put that on your customers, and I appreciate that because that's a struggle, I'm sure, every single day, right? It's what would be the easiest thing to do is just go revamp the menu and upcharge everything.
I mean, a lot of breakfast spots did that.
Absolutely.
Egg surcharges.
They really did. It's not just avocado at Chipotle. You know what I mean? It was egg surcharges back in the day. But what was that like walking through that and then having to put that and shoulder it on your shoulders? Like, you are the deciding factor of this. I'm sure you're getting pulled in a million different directions, but keeping the blinders on and being like, this is what's good for the company. We're not doing it until the wall is falling down and I have to. Yeah. What was that like being in that?
I mean, first thing's always just staying like composed and poised. Like if I freak out, then all of my team, it'll trickle down and it'll just be a domino effect. So I think just like, maintaining some hope that, hey, things are going to, the supply is going to get fixed. I mean, we've been through these ups and downs. It just hasn't been this aggressive and this often. So the instability has definitely thrown me off, but I just have to remember, like, this too will pass. You know what I mean? Like this shall pass. I know that I have a very loyal clientele, right? They've supported me since day one, 2014. And so, I have to show that same loyalty back. I'm not going to just start, hey, egg prices skyrocketed, I'm going to pass that on to you. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, this is the cost of doing business. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs have to remember. It's like, they don't want to give any free time. I know a lot of entrepreneurs like, no, I have to get paid for this. I have to get paid for that. Like, I'm not going to do it for free. Mm-hmm. I can't devalue myself. Hey, man, like if you can't do that, then you don't understand entrepreneurship. You give a lot of free time away, and it's for the greater good. Like, we were talking about earlier. And so I had to just take a moment, write it out, see how it was going to go. And before I would pass it on to my customers, like, in all honesty, I'm like, hey, as a team, we're probably going to take the eggs off the employee menu, like, before we take it off to the customers. Because, hey, man, like, we're here because of them, right? And my team understood that. So we had to, company-wide memo, like, hey, I'm sorry, you can have the same dishes, you just can't have eggs in them. And, we had to do things like that just so we can, like I said, I take loyalty, from our customers, from our base very seriously, and I want to show that back to them.
That's awesome. That's a little insider trait right there. I don't think anyone's ever heard that before, dude. Yeah. That was really, really cool. I don't think that we properly introduced you to the world, man. Take a second. Let them know who Josh Molina is and what Makers and Finders is, brother.
Yeah. So, I'm Josh Molina. I'm the CEO, founder of Makers and Finders and Take It Easy Roasters in Chinatown. I'm also now a founding board chair of Thrive Point Academy, which is a hybrid high school here in Nevada that we opened our doors last year. We opened up Makers and Finders in 2014. I come from a very humble family, not from the silver platter. I was, I didn't have, just this money available to me to open a restaurant. I hustled very hard for it, and it was also family, friends supported me to get to that point. And so in 2014, I saved up some money and I had this idea, this concept for a Latin-inspired brunch restaurant with specialty coffee, but a full service experience. So like instead of like, Starbucks, you go to the counter. No, like we come to you. You come hang out, make this your home. And the whole idea was to create a vibe that was very like energetic. I'm a type A kind of guy. I'm very, my wife complains so much. She's like, I don't understand. Like when you open your eyes, you're like fully awake, and so I have a lot of energy, and I wanted to brand my concept accordingly. And just being a first generation immigrant, both my parents are from Colombia, migrated here in the 80s. I wanted a brand that spoke to that. And so I found this series of articles written in in the 50s, post-war era, and it was called Makers and Finders, and it was talking about like this idea, like this experiment, the American experiment, and it just spoke to me. It was like 3 a.m. I was like, I already had this idea of like a brunch restaurant, and I had gone through a series of names. I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to go with, and when I saw Makers and Finders, I'm like, this is it, right? Because it kind of speaks to that. Movers and shakers, and I've had many people throughout the years ask me, like, what does it mean? Whatever you want it to mean. Like, that's the beauty of that name. It's just, it has energy to it. And so we opened in 2014 in the Arts District at a time where it was, burgeoning and kind of redeveloping. And, long story short, 10 plus years later, we have over $30 million in lifetime sales as a small business. We have total of 5 locations, over 100 employees, and still grinding and, still trying to get better every single day.
Powerful. I want to ask you, what choosing this industry, right, and knowing what's the numbers, like 85% of restaurants close after the first year. Yeah. What made you think that wouldn't happen to you? Like, what happened, or what in your life was like, I'm going to be able to pull this off and I'll be the 15%, knowing you don't have life on a silver platter, knowing you don't have this bankroll behind you. Like you said, you're first immigrant, right? Family, and you being able to bootstrap this on your own. What was that? What made you think I can do this?
I was 25 at the time. So I will say there was like some naivety to it. Like I was just like bullish, and just, at that age, like you just don't even think failure's an option. Right. But I will say, like, I come from a very strong family. That's always been my foundation. I was able to have the right partners and right place, right time kind of thing. It's, that's such a packed question, but I think that more than anything else, I just believed in this vision, right? And, I did my research, man. Like, this was 2012 when this whole project started, and I took it seriously. Like, I wrote a business plan. I talked to investors. I tried to go the food truck direction. I wanted to go to Fremont East. I spoke to Downtown Project. This was at the time, Tony Hsieh was bringing in, over $300 million to small businesses and to redevelop Fremont East. And I did all that. And, I just kept feeding this vision. And so as I kept feeding it, it felt like it was coming alive. And so I rode on that and just kept going until I was one night in the Arts District at Velveteen Rabbit. They were one of the first, right, over there. And, a few cocktails in, I'm running around. It's a quiet neighborhood at the time. It's not what it is now. And I run across this old furniture store. And, I kid you not, like a movie. I poked my head through the windows, and I'm like, what is this place?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is cool. I'm going to, so I took a picture of the phone number that says for lease. The next day I called him. And he called me back, and, prices in Fremont East were $3-4 a square foot. That was under $1. So I said, hey, maybe this is something. And that's when I started, and that's the one thing I will say, like, I wasn't going into this blind. Like, I didn't have experience. I didn't have a roadmap, but I was like discovering as I went, and I was very curious too. So I called the city of Las Vegas. I got in touch with planners, like, hey, like, what's it like to build a restaurant? And I got a lot of information by just picking up the phone and calling a lot of people. It's crazy what that could do. Like, just being curious.
Right.
I feel like it's something that we take for granted nowadays, because, we don't have to be curious anymore. We have a phone.
Yeah.
All the information gets fed to us.
Right.
So, we decide our own algorithms, and that's curiosity.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I just kept going and believed in the vision, and then found that place in the Arts District for a very affordable amount, and, was able to scratch up $100K between me, my partner, my family. And I said, let's do it. And we signed the lease.
So is that the initial cost? Is that like the startup cost? Is that everything all in? Like,
I wish.
Okay. Could you talk on that a little bit? Like permits, what is it like doing like a complete renovation? Because you said it was a furniture company and now you're turning into this a full-fledged restaurant. And you just said like, it's not Starbucks where you just come to the counter. No, if anyone's been to Makers and Finders, it's a vibe. And that was, I'm sure, your vision. You created exactly what you wanted that to become. And it's a staple here in Vegas. To be honest, like I know when I open your guys' Instagram page, there's customers that you have that come to take photos at your restaurant. So like you created something that the masses love. What does that honestly cost, brother?
So I was telling you earlier, I was picking up the phone. I was calling a lot of, like, I would call contractors, like just cold call, like, hey, like, I'm a potential customer. I want to build a restaurant. Tell me about what it would cost, right? So everybody kept telling me $250K, okay. Right? And I'm a frugal guy. I consider myself very resourceful too. Yeah. Throughout my life, I've been able to do a lot with a little. And so I said, if I can get to 100K, I can figure the rest out from there, right? Okay. So long story short, between and like you were saying, it's a furniture store, which means that the infrastructure for the restaurant wasn't there. Now there's two heavy costs. The hood, the kitchen hood, where all the smoke goes through and make sure you don't have a fire. And then the grease interceptor for the plumbing, where all the food grease needs to go through, right? Between those two alone, it was about $60,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So needless to say, I had to strap those boots in and I had to do some of this shit myself, right?
Really?
So I paid for what was called like general construction, the hard costs, right? Electrical, plumbing, and drywall, HVAC, like ducting. Yeah. I was able to get all that done for $99,000, right?
Wow.
But that's without any permits, any furniture, any refrigeration. It's a restaurant, right? Any espresso machines. So I had to raise a little bit more money, right? I mean, a lot of it was, I feel like it was fate. Like, I barely was able to open my doors. I had to pay my contractor off the last, when the contractor does work for you, one of the most important things you need are two things you need are a certificate of occupancy, which is like after you've checked all the boxes, fire department, health department, building department, you get that glorious 8.5 by 11 certificate called a certificate of occupancy. And then, and then of course that's done through permitting and so on and so forth. So, sorry, I kind of lost myself there.
No, you're good.
So the certificate of occupancy, oh gosh, what was I saying?
Talking about your permit costs. You were talking about once.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
The second thing was my contractors. After they do work for you, any kind of general contractor or subcontractor, you have to, once you pay them, they give you what's called an unconditional lien waiver, right? It's basically saying you've paid us, you don't owe us anything, so we can't come back and claim that you owe us $20,000 for electrical. You can't get a COO without that, right? So you need to. I was going to open in 2 weeks, and I had run out of money. If I paid my contractor that last payment, I'd have $0, and I needed working capital to start because I have payroll and all this other stuff. So I had to go and find I found what's called like just a personal line of credit. And at the last 2 weeks before, I was able to pull this out, got just enough money in the credit line to pay off my contractors and open the door. So it was a lot. It was a lot. But overall, I was able to accomplish this project for $100,000 less than what I was told.
Yeah.
$150K.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And you had everything writing on this.
Everything.
I mean, not only were you at the very end and you still didn't have enough, you were like, I have to go take out more just to begin and start at essentially the starting line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you have chef experience? Do you have a cook background? Did you already know how to go into interviews and find your staff? Because people don't think about that as well. That's on you. You know what I mean? So how did you navigate that world of interviews and employees? You know what I mean? To open the doors. So when your customers are waiting in line, there's a team there. What was that like?
Man, you bring up such a good point. That was something that, I wasn't ready for.
Right.
I wasn't, just in all honesty. I knew what I had to do to like build it, because I was able, I understood permitting. I understood how to read, architectural sets, and I get all those things, right?
Yeah.
But what I didn't plan for or, really, anticipate was that part.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually harder.
Yeah.
Like, actually operating, having a team, like you said, it felt harder to me, than it was to just build this place out, even though that was incredibly hard as well. I don't have chef background. I mean, I've always been, creative and stuff like that, but I did have a chef partner at the time because I got into restaurants. I had a feeling I wanted to, do my own thing and create a concept for like a restaurant. So I got into restaurants when I was 21. And so throughout the way, I met a chef who, believed in the vision. He was able to also invest in the business. And so I presented him this menu that I had envisioned. And I had also done some R&D, some clever R&D. I'll mention this because I think it's important. I wanted to create a menu that was Latin-based, but also like a cafe, because I wasn't sure how good the Latin was going to hit, right? So I would call other cities and find cafes and be like, hey, I'm coming to, I look forward to visiting your place. Like, what are the top 3 menu items that you think I should get when I get there? Mm-hmm. And I'd write all these down. And I was building a menu based on what was popular in other places. And that was like how I built my core menu as far as like the cafe food goes.
Cheat code.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, you gotta be resourceful. Like, absolutely. Don't do all the work. There's others who've done a lot of it for you. So, and so I got the chef and I told him, hey, this is what I want the menu to be. Can you make it into a commercial, can you make it suitable for commercial kitchens?
Yeah. Recon. Dude.
There's a few I had another one too a little like undercover mission that I did too.
Yeah, you're like undercover boss.
Yeah. I wasn't a boss then yet.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, so now let's go past that. We've built it all out, right? You now have everything on the line. You now have your team. And let's just say, God forbid this works, right? Your team that you initially start with is never the team that you finish with, because everyone goes on their own ways. Life things happen, right? Or God forbid they suck, you have to fire them. It's called a spade a spade. You know what I mean? You don't know. Yeah. You take them at their word in an interview, So you get in, you start moving and grooving, and does the community just accept you? And it's boom, you're flooded all day and night, opening to close. Is that how it goes for you?
So the community accepted us for sure. Yeah. I mean, like, we were the first coffee shop on Main Street in the Arts District, right? 2014. I remember I was like reading articles, and in 2012, there was 12 independent coffee shops in all of Las Vegas. Wow. Now there are a lot, dozens in every corner, right? So we were something really new and different. So, and we were in an area that people were really starting to pay attention to. The city was investing money into it. A few years later after we opened, they redid the streets and all this other, made it walkable, added landscaping. It's beautiful. And so we were accepted right away, but I'm very fortunate. Like, we weren't like lying out the door. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, we had consistent business, but like that first year was really like allowed us to really understand what it is we're doing, because like you said, I didn't have any experience, so this was all very new to me. Yeah. And so we had a little time to kind of ramp up.
I like it.
But we got busy soon after that, and a lot of this is just kind of pivoting and thinking on your feet. But we're very fortunate because we were in the right place at the right time, for Absolutely. Sure. And we, and I had a lot of this was like calculated, like I told you earlier. I wrote a business plan, so like part of it was like understanding your market. So I knew that, the medical district was right around the corner to me. I knew that there were law offices right around the corner, the city, the justice court, all that. So I knew there was daytime business, and I was constantly scoping around the neighborhood, Yeah. And I would see, I'm like, wow, like there's a lot of people that come out here for lunch. I think there's potential here. So, I wasn't going into it blindly, but I definitely had to learn on my feet.
Speaking on that calculation, now that you said you have 5 locations in the city.
Yeah.
They're all really in different areas. Was the same intentionality with the other 4 locations that you had with this first one? Or were you kind of like, I'm gonna just take a swing and say, I have something great here. I think it can pop off over here as well.
Yeah.
What about those 4 other locations that you chose now?
You know, you bring up a good point, and I think it's important that people like know about this because each location is so different.
So different.
Like I'm talking about from customer
Yeah,
to employee.
absolutely.
It's so different. Like it's night and day.
Mm.
I knew that. I mean, immediately, like from location 1 in the Arts District, I said, we're here to do this all the way. Like we're going to expand. So that was a mission right after we opened, right? So I was thinking to myself, you know, maximum impact. Where can I go that I could have like the most impact and I could afford, right? So at the time, you know, this is 2017 now, right? We were already a few years in. We started making a name for ourselves. And I was at downtown Summerlin. Excuse me. And back then, same thing. Downtown Summerlin wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It was desolate. Like there wasn't a lot of people. There was a lot of businesses that closed. And so the location at downtown Summerlin was a noodle shop and then it closed and then it was like a temporary coffee shop. But I went in there and I'm like, man, like, you know, I think this is a good spot. There's no coffee here.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm right next to, you know, I'm in a really well-positioned spot in the heart of the mall, right next to Macy's. And I said, well, if I really want to test how strong Makers and Finders is, like, let me test it against national brands because, you know, Maggiano's is there, CPK, you know, all kinds of nationals are there, right? And so I found this spot, and it's what's called Second Generation, and I highly recommend anyone who's interested in coffee shops or, you know, any kind of retail brick and mortar, look for Second Generation. I spent $75K to open up Summerlin, half of what I paid for Main Street. Why? Because Second Gen, it already had a hood. It already had a grease interceptor. So all my costs was just lipstick. Like I just had to renovate it essentially. Right. And so for $75K, half of what I did at Main Street, I got a COO, certificate of occupancy. And let me tell you something, like that location, it was like the best decision I could have made. Yeah. That location alone yields almost $3 million a year.
Holy cow, dude.
By itself.
Yeah.
And it's 1,750 square feet.
Killer.
That's over $1,000 per square foot annually. Like it's like a monster. That's like a little factory.
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
At 75 grand, dude. Yeah. 3 million.
And we opened in 3.5 months. I mean, dude, I killed myself. Like, I'm not even gonna be here like painting, you know, rainbows and roses. Like,
no, yeah.
I signed the lease. I got the keys September 1st, 2017, and I was open December 21st, 2017, 4 days before Christmas. And yeah, I mean, in the mall. Right?
Yeah, right.
So that location was immediately like we got wrecked right away. Like we were busy.
To the races.
Yeah.
And for this episode, dude, I just did my own little recon. I went to each location.
Oh,
I went just to like see the environment. Do you know what I mean? I've been there obviously with my wife before, to the Arts District 1 and taking the photo in front of the girl with, you know, and I just wanted to see, is it copy and paste? Do you know what I mean? Do they have the same values? Do they have the same morals? Obviously it's people, you know what I mean? So they could be different, have a bad day, wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But each location, dude, everyone is like super helpful. Everyone is like waiting on you hand and foot. And I'm a coffee fanatic, so I'm kind of particular. I'll be honest, you know what I mean? And it never missed. Not at one location did it miss. And the food is obviously amazing. So is that something that you are constantly like revamping of keeping everyone? We have a standard. Now we are known. Our brand is known all across the city. So there's just an expectation. You know what I mean? You don't get a slip. Is that within you? Is that on your hiring process? Is that with your staff, like managers that you have? Like we have a standard. There's an expectation when people walk through that door, you got to meet it.
Yeah.
Was that enabled from you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I've tried everything throughout the years. Cool boss, mean boss, cold boss, like hot and cold boss. Like I've tried it all. And, you know, I learned one thing. You have to have your standards and you have to live by them at whatever cost, right? So I think that also it's part of it's something that's really true to me and my family and where I come from. Like I'm not too good to, grab a broom and sweep. I'm not too, I'll get on my knee. I'll scrub a drain. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not too good for that. Right. And so I think that that's something that we built into our team from top to bottom, our upper management, our location management. They know that when we're there, we'll jump in and help them. Like, we're not going to ask any questions. We're not going to, lead from a laptop, right? Like, call barking orders from an office. That's not us. Like, we're very hands-on, and I know how to do every position that I have in the restaurant, I know how to do it. I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll wash dishes, I'll make coffee, I'll serve people, whatever it is, right? So I think that that's, fortunately been ingrained in our culture. Like, we're all coming from different places, right? We're all so different, but we have to have a meeting ground. And our meeting ground is work ethic. Like, you work hard, you make your money, things are good. And I tell everybody the same thing. Life is too hard as it is. I'm not going to bring that shit into the business. Like, this is a place to escape the outside bullshit that we all deal with, right? I don't want to bring that into the business because life's already hard as it is. Why would I make work hard too?
Absolutely.
So I think that that's something that's thankfully been ingrained. And so, like, I do get that feedback, like, what, these employees, like, they're happy. Like, like you said, it's like some days are bad. Like, and we have to understand that. But same thing, just because you're having a bad day, you can't drag that in with you. Don't bring us down with you. Like, let us know. If you need a minute, go to the walk-in, yell your brains out, whatever you got to do. Like, breathe some cold air and come back and we're good, right? You need a plate to throw. Here's a plate. They're plastic, so you can throw it as hard as you want, and I don't care.
Multiple times.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. Come back in and we'll do this.
That's awesome. Man, the journey and doing it at the level that you're doing it, the way that you've been able to scale is an amazing feat within itself. So flowers and kudos to you for that. But in the middle of this, COVID happened, dude. What was that like, being able, let me ask, did you even shut down? Did one store close? Were you able to keep all locations open and keep all of your employees? Like, what was it like to overcome that?
Man, as you can imagine, I remember sitting, in downtown Summerlin. It was March 12th, 2020. And it was a week before the shutdown. So, but it was already, everybody was already scared shitless, right? Yeah. So I was in the restaurant in downtown Summerlin, my busiest restaurant, and it was me on my laptop and one other customer. Wow. And it was like a Wednesday, like a poppin' day for us. And I'm just like, whoa. Like, that's when reality started to strike for me. And so, then the 17th is when they announced the shutdown. So,
the fact that you know it to the day.
Yeah. It's trauma, baby. That's called trauma. I'm just kidding.
That is awesome. Because I want people to truly be able to understand and comprehend all of the hurdles and obstacles, not only if you choose to go down this route, but the stuff you had to overcome, they're more than likely not even going to have to. You know what I mean? Because COVID's already happened. Right. So please, man, if you feel comfortable enough, share it. What was that like?
So at the time, I'll speak from that time, and then I'll tell you in hindsight, how I feel about it, right? Yeah. So at that time, March 17th, I had to, make a decision, right? I looked outside. I was in the Arts District at this point, and all the businesses around me are literally putting plywood on their windows, right? And so I had to make a choice. I said, well, I'm going to put plywood up and, batten the hatches and go hide somewhere, right? Yeah. Or I can be true to my brand. I can be true to the spirit of Makers and Finders, and we hustle, we don't quit, and I can serve my community. And that's what I decided to do, man. So I kept the core of six staff members, mostly management. We had Arts District in downtown Summerlin at the time, and I was telling you earlier, we do coffee pop-ups, so we're able to take our espresso machines anywhere. So we literally moved our operation to the sidewalk. Yeah. And on March 19th, we opened up on the sidewalk at downtown Summerlin Arts District. And first 2 weeks, it looked like a very bad decision because nobody was going out. Right. But you know what happened? We got antsy. Right. We didn't want to stay home. Yeah. So week 3, and I'm so grateful to have experienced this, but I started seeing people come out, right? And then they started coming out. They would come out, grab food, and then go pop open their trunk or their pickup, and they'd sit back in the car and eat it at their car. Like, it felt like the 50s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like what they
yeah.
used to do. Like they used to pull up to a football field. They had food. They had some drinks. And I was like, damn, like this is so cool. Like the world has stopped and we're like getting back to basics. And, we started getting regulars. And then when I say regulars, new regulars, not the regulars from the restaurant days.
Right.
These are COVID regulars. People who just like wanted to still like try to have some kind of like normal life. And dude, it was a vibe. Like we had at one point, like we had 30 people on bicycles riding through our district. They stopped by. We sold out of like everything. And so it ended up picking up, and, we were doing these things called quarantine packages. So like we'd sell like, we'd do champagne, brunch, take it for like a really good value, and like, go have yourself a date. Yeah. And, it was a good decision at the time from a business perspective, because when we reopened in May, it was like, boom.
Yeah.
We were busy because we never stopped. We never took a beat. And year over year, I tell this to a lot of people all the time, from August to October, 2019 compared to 2020, we grew in revenue and we were at half capacity. Wow. That's how busy we were.
Dude.
Yeah, it was wild. So, we pivoted, and at the time that felt like a good idea, but like, you get older, you get wiser. And I think I'm in a space now where I'm like, man, like, I haven't rested.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being an entrepreneur, and just always going, like I forget, I started losing my creativity. I had a lot of mental blocks, and I realized it's because I'm not rested. Like I haven't taken a break. And so in hindsight, I may have done things a little differently, maybe taken a break, maybe not done that. But, history is history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, dude. I had no idea that you guys had COVID packages and like champagne. Like, you want to talk about the pivot inside the pivot. You know what I mean? Like, you branched out and you made something new out of something that was bad. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, dude, or even if we kind of dial back a little bit, when you open, is the money that's generated and coming in going right back out? Because you have staff, you have rent, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure you have that line of credit still. I'm pretty sure your furniture and things like that are on lines of credit. So at what year are you actually positive making money? And what year did you start paying yourself?
Yeah. So we were very fortunate. Like, we broke even like 3 months in.
Oh, dude,
well, like, we were able to pay our costs, and, we weren't losing any money. And I didn't pay myself for the first year. Okay. And then I started paying myself, and it was only $600 every 2 weeks. So it was like pennies, right? A lot of it, we reinvested right away because we believed in growth. And look, the first location I told you, that $150K earlier that opened up the restaurant, look, man, I undercut myself quite a bit. Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff that I couldn't afford at the time that I needed to invest in. So I was doing a lot of like walking backwards and like, building the infrastructure that I couldn't afford, and then jumped right into expansion, and I kept expanding, right? We opened up the coffee roastery. I acquired this big commercial coffee roaster, which costs, it costs what a car costs, right? Like, so I kept reinvesting into the company. And then now, and people know margins for restaurants, that's why one of the biggest reasons why restaurants failed. They're super tight, and it's so easy for your costs and expenses to get out of control because there's so many directions it goes in, right? So right now we're kind of taking a step back and like reeling it all back in and really focusing on our margins, really focusing on our costs, and what are the loss leaders, what are the sales leaders? Like, let's focus on what we do best and really be a very like tight run ship with a strong core. And then, we'll probably go back to expansion once things get a little bit more stable again.
Yeah. I want to touch on that, the numbers part of it, right? Did you right away say, hey, this is not my skill set of like looking at a P&L statement and food costs and margins, so let me bring in a professional, let me bring in a team, let me bring in, I don't know, someone I trust to do this? Or were you like, we did everything else on our own, let's go try this too? And then when you see, you're like, oh crap, I made a mistake, now let me get someone to come and help us, you know what I mean? Because everything is just through the roof. Talk about that journey, because I don't think a lot of people understand, like, there's a lot of fine tuning that goes in through this. You know what I mean?
I think I had a lot of blind confidence that, and look, do I understand P&Ls and balance sheets? I do, but it's not a natural thing it's not something that comes natural to me.
Right.
So I understood, generally speaking, like the hard costs of things and overhead that we had. But I would, later on, I had to bring in someone who is an ace at finances, right? Spreadsheets. I mean, she creates like the most beautiful spreadsheets, formulas like I've never seen before. We also have like a fractional kind of like CFO that we use, and so he splits his time for us, and we actually now we do remote workers too. So we saved a lot of money because a lot of companies and businesses have to rely on CPAs to handle all their finances, like you said, financial reports, taxes, etc. As you learn this, like you can actually control a lot of those costs and do a lot of the work yourself. It's just tedious, right? So we found a remote worker through this platform called Hubstaff. He lives in El Salvador. He's incredible, right? And we pay him a good wage for his country, right? It's like 3 times what they earn over there. And he does great work. And he does a lot of our reconciliation, a lot of our, a lot of our numbers that we can close out each month, each quarter, each year. So I definitely had to take a moment and take a step back to recognize what I'm really good at. And that's like, I love building restaurants. I love creating like a vibe, an environment. I love bringing people together, and I left the spreadsheets and like the number crunching to people who know that a lot better than I do. But I do have a good instinct when it comes to like how to manage money. Like that's always been something that I've been good at, and from early on, like, hey, your credit score is your reputation. That's what my mom used to tell me.
Right.
Your credit score is your name, so preserve it. And I did that for a long time, and it translates over to business. But like you said, business, there's so much, and you wear so many hats that at some point or another, you have to call in the reinforcements.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. Is overhead costs the same at each location, or do they vary because of like the foot traffic that you get?
They vary. They vary somewhat. Like, rent is typically between like 8 and 12% of our revenue. Okay. That's like about a number there, but it depends on like where we're at. So, and then like you said, the foot traffic, utilities, they're for the most part cut and paste. And then, we have, as we've gotten bigger as a company, as a food service company, we've increased our buying power, right? So, we spend about $1 million a year on buying food. So like, that's a good penny. That's a lot. That's some money for these bigger companies. So we've locked in what's called like MSAs, which are like master services agreement. Basically, like I have specific pricing, percentage rebates. Like if I hit a certain volume, I get back some money. So you can really leverage your buying power to control some of these overhead and these variable costs that we have. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's something that, as a business, like as you grow, like it's not just about the money coming in. Yeah. It's like you can control the money going out because you have buying power and you have leverage at that point.
And was that decided on like different farms or different growers of your beans, and you're like actually sampling stuff and you're like, I really love the quality and the speed that you can get things to me. Can we lock down under contract like this relationship? What does that like? Walk us through. What does that look like?
So we do have direct trade. So we have, I was in 2018, I was in New York City for a coffee conference, right? And I met a couple brothers from Colombia. I'm Colombian too. And they're from like southern part of Colombia, which is like Huila, right? Which is a very fast growing coffee region, right? Everyone knows like the coffee triangle of Colombia, but this is like a really up and coming region. And I worked with them and I went down to their farms. I've met all the farmers. So they basically are like a co-op. They help all their, they help the farmers in their region, like learn about these new ways of processing coffee, these like varietals and like ways of like increasing the value of their coffee by just nurturing it and doing a certain process that they can sell it for so much more. So I really love that part of them. And I went over there and I locked in a direct trade deal with them. So now We buy directly from them at a lower controlled cost, and the quality is like insane. Like it's some really unique flavors that you can't find anywhere else. And so that was one way of doing it. We did a direct trade deal, and then going back to the MSA, that we drew through our food distributor, right? Like Cisco, US Foods, right? So we I reached out to them, and just classic negotiation style, like, hey man, I'm gonna stop buying from you if we don't talk about like our costs. Like maybe not that aggressive, but like maybe I said hi first, and then I sat down with them, and they have a business development. Every one of these companies have there's someone that does business development, right? And I got with him. I'm like, look, man, like I know how much I purchase from you guys. We need to work something out, or I am going to go to your competitor, because at that point you're starting to get phone calls like, hey, I can save you this much money, that much money. So, you negotiate and you leverage your buying power. And that's what I did with my food distributor. And we're able to lock something in and have lower margins, have like cleaner margins. Like it's like transparent. Like I know exactly what they're going to upcharge me for all the food categories that I have.
Yeah.
So
can I ask, when you are in this vision and the mindset of expansion, is there like a dollar amount that said store has to hit for you to go and look for another location? Or is it like overall generated revenue? Or are you just like, I got the itch, I want to be creative, I want to see if I can replicate this and do this again? Like what is it for you that lets you know it's either safe to go do this and we're going to knock it out of the park?
I think the biggest thing is, like you said, the overall health of the company, right? Because the different locations will perform differently. Like they'll have good seasons, bad seasons, and sometimes they're different seasons. Like, so like summer might be slow here, but it might be busier there. And so I think the overall health is the most important thing. Like what is our bottom line? Are we cash positive? Are we cash flow positive? And, and I'm really, like I said, I take this responsibility like very, I don't take it lightly, right? So I like to make sure that we always have cash reserves in our bank, at least 6 months of we can pay all locations, all bills for 6 months at least. So I'm very conservative when it comes to minimum. Yeah. Because
that's rent, that's bills, that's staff, everything for 6 months.
Because I don't want to have, I know rain. I mean, we're in a rainy season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because I'm that conservative, like, sales has slowed down. Like, I don't want to hide away from the fact, like, everybody knows. We're all feeling it. Like, it's tight right now, especially restaurants and retail, right? We're hearing it left and right. And so I'm really grateful to have that strategy and being conservative. And then not only that, like I know you talk about this because, I did some recon on you as well. There we go. But I mean, like, you talk a lot about like finances and like making your money work for you. And one of the ways we did that is like instead of just leaving it in a savings account, you make like 0.01%, whatever, like some small fractional amount. Like there's ways for you to make 4 or 5%.
Absolutely.
Probably not as much anymore since interest rates have changed. So that was another thing that's really offset. Like we put our money in investments accounts. They're still accessible, but they're earning at a much higher rate. So, that was also helpful to implement as well.
Dude, you're the man. You wear a lot of hats, not only for the company at the moment in time, but for the future. And is there a stop button? Or is there like, okay, I've done enough? I know you said right now, like you feel like you need to relax, right? Because you haven't rested through COVID. But is there a moment where you can see, okay, is it like a national brand? Do you know what I mean? Like I want to have locations all across the country, or I'm good. Like is there at all a moment for you where you think you can step away and just like, okay, it can run itself. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I had like a concrete answer because what you just described is like the question in my life right now. Yeah. Do I think this brand can go national? Absolutely. Like I absolutely believe that Makers and Finders, you plug it into almost any metro city, 1 million or more population, like it'll do well, right? But like you said, like, I'm in my late 30s now. Priorities change. I have a family, and so I think what success means to me has changed. It's not just the money coming in. It's like the life I want to live. And so will I be the one to take it national? I don't know. But am I going to try as hell like to try to make that happen? Absolutely. I just don't know if it's going to be me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever had anyone reach out to you to like franchise?
Yeah, many times. Yeah. But the French, and in different cities as well.
Yeah.
One in a different country one time too.
Wow.
But I just, the franchising thing, I don't like the model. Like like you said earlier, people are people, man. Like you can, have all your SOPs and all your guidance and manuals and set yourself up perfectly. And, even the biggest brands fail at franchising. So I think for me, it's like, it's either I'd find like a group, like a private equity or someone who has the resources, who sees the vision, and they say, okay, we're going to take this and we're going to put fuel in it, and we're going to take this and grow it. Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if franchising's for me, because I care too much about the integrity of the brand, I think. And that's just like a quick way to lose it.
No, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Knowing everything that you know now, everything that you've overcome, and obviously cost, right? You got in at a great deal when you did get in so early on. Would you do it all over again today?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because, oh man, like this experience has given me, like, I probably would have gone down a bad road. Like I struggled in high school. You know what I mean? Like I got kicked out of high school. I went to like a behavioral school in North Las Vegas. I struggled. Like, I had a lot of energy, like I told you earlier, and I just didn't. It was going to go to the wrong places. And I would say that like this business took up so much of my energy that it kept me away from bad things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have changed that, because I think that would I have not had this responsibility on my back, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of like an apprenticeship program? Like if other aspiring restaurateurs want to learn hands-on, would you be like open to showing them the ropes and letting them come in and shadowing you essentially to learn like the day-to-days, but also wearing 17 hats, not just, oh, I'm the CEO of a restaurant and that's mine. Let's go pull up on a Friday night and put me at the best table, right? I think that that's a lot of what people think it is.
Yeah.
Would you ever think of doing anything like that? Or have you ever had like an idea or aspirations to do something?
No, for sure. I mean, that's why I got involved with Thrive Point Academy. Like about like 2 years ago, I really wanted to start giving back. So, I went to UNLV, and, I was the first in my immediate family to graduate from college. So, I wanted to give back. And so I got involved with the college that I graduated from, the College of Liberal Arts, and I joined like a mentorship program. So I was I was a mentor to a couple students for a few semesters. In Thrive Point, I'm able to we have over 350 students. It's an alternative education school, which means that it's focused on like underprivileged kids, like kids that don't have the lives we have, that have challenges that like no kid should have, right? And so like I definitely want to continue giving back, especially like, us being like minorities and being like, Latino, and like I want to show them that like, dude, like I did it, like you sure as hell can do it, but it ain't gonna be the way that you think it's gonna be. Like you said, it's not glorious.
Yeah.
You gotta work and you gotta be consistent, because everybody wants it. But very few people are willing to like actually grind through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd love to show some people, some younger adults how to do that.
I think that's the next step in the journey for you, dude, because you've taken so many things head on and hands on, with going to Colombia to, meeting your farmers and being able to actually cut costs on your initial restaurant, right? And being able to do recon, like you said, and calling people, so much that you are a little ecosystem within yourself where you could pass on a lot of information to someone who could beat their head up against the wall. And it's scary, and not having someone in their corner, right? To like, hey, yes, it does get hard, but right over this wall, I promise you is a breakthrough. So I think that could be your next step. And we initially met each other at Thrive Point Academy. We were on a panel together, and in the audience was a lot of students at your school. So that, like, the hunger is there, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of eyes on you, just watching you and the way you move. So keep doing what you're doing, dude. And I think it's all going to come to fruition. That could be the next step for you to actually like take your foot off the gas, but
Sure.
Thank
Thank you for calling that out.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I want to ask about the restaurant. Okay. When it's flowing, when it's popping and money's good, right? I'm sure there's times when you think that it's amazing, but you being the way that you are, you have 6 months in reserves and you understand that anything can change, right? You've been through ups and downs, ebbs and flows of it. Is the hardest thing that you're dealing with now staff or keeping your staff happy? Because let's be honest, man, we know how people get. They see what's going on. They see that you're busy. They think he can't do this without me, right? They think that they're making this go. And are they essential? Absolutely. But it's human nature. You know what I mean? So is it a everyday challenge or a month-to-month challenge for you now to like be hands-on people person and elevating the people that you staff? Because what did you say? You have like 1,000?
No, over 100.
Over 100. That's a lot of different personalities. That's a lot of different backgrounds. That's a lot of different challenges to overcome. And they're for you to take care of, right? Nobody else is their boss. It's you. Would that, what you say right now is your biggest challenge inside the company in itself?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've all heard it. The labor market is not the same as what it was. No one has money, but at the same time, no one wants to work. So it's this weird conundrum, right?
Yeah.
And I have different theories that I won't get into as to why, but it's, you know, it is, and then it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
So which even before the climate that we're in now, like it's always had, you know, the restaurant industry always had high turnover. So for me, I am hands-on, but like I'm not day-to-day anymore. Like every location has a general manager. Now I'm hands-on with my general management, right? And so I am every day. We're you know, we have multiple threads. We're constantly in communication. Things are constantly moving. You know, we just rolled out our winter beverages. We have events. We have pop-ups on the strip. So we're moving a lot. But when I come into the restaurant, like I just try to like, because they've, you know, I come in and they've all heard about me, right? And so like I have to come in and like break that wall down. Like, hey man, like I come in, I shake, and that's the first thing I do when I walk in. I go and I say hello, look at every single employee, whether they know me or not, like, and I look them in the eye. And if I don't know them, I have a quick convo. That's kind of like my thing. I go, I have a quick, hey, like, tell me about like where's your experience? Like, if you're a cook, where have you cooked at? Where have you made coffee at? And I have a quick convo with them and really just break the ice. And I think that is very powerful because, like you said, like we all have this vision of what a CEO is like, and it's not anything like we imagine, right? It's important to, you know, really shake everyone's hand and make them feel valued. But at the same time, like I also like make it clear, like, hey, like if you have any questions, let me know. Like we have, you know, we these policies are written in this way for a reason. If you ever wonder why a policy is the way it is, let me know. I know because they all tell me the same thing. Like, I just don't feel like you're approachable because I got so much thing going on. I'm like, I got a lot going on, but if you tell me you need to speak to me, I will stop.
There we go.
And so like, I think that's helped a lot. But like you said, I'm not for everyone. We're not for everyone, you know? So we've had, you know, we have turnover, but very, very thankful to like have a lot of core staff that we've had people that's been with us for like 7-8 years, like a long time, which in restaurant, that's like almost impossible. Yeah.
It's like dog years for real.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you. Dude, on the marketing side, because you are kind of like the face, at least to me, you literally are the face of Makers and Finders. And especially when I look on my algorithm, it's really you promoting the new seasons, the new flavors that you guys are rolling out. You guys have awesome flights that you change, right? Is that intentional, or are you just being cheap and you don't want to hire an influencer to come through, or what is that like?
I'm definitely not being cheap.
Okay.
The people behind the camera are the ones I'm paying.
Okay,
So,
I got you.
no, you know, I knew a long time ago, like 2016, 2017, I said, Instagram, like this is going to be around for a while. So very early on, we were on Instagram early, right? And at the time, it was us like, you know, just capturing content and putting it up. But as we got bigger, you know, I outsourced that to a company I've worked with for like over 3 years now. So it's because that's a hard thing. Like finding a good marketing company is very hard, you know, because it's a lot of work at the end of the day. And so I found a great marketing company that I work with really well. And a few years ago, I made the conscious decision to say, I was always like the humble, like owner, like behind the scenes, like you'd never know I was the owner. And I embraced that persona, but I also knew that we needed a face. And I knew that I needed to start building not just Makers and Finders, I needed to start building Josh Molina, right? Yeah. So a few years ago, I made that conscious choice to get in front of the camera, and through a lot of trial and more error than trial, like I learned how to, I was always a public speaker. I wasn't afraid to talk, but it's different having a camera in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I made it a point to get in front of that camera, and now I do feel like the face, and that was very intentional. I think it's important that, every brand has a few faces, because we plug in, some of our key employees as well, and have fun with like trend videos and stuff. So.
Yeah. I've seen you literally like dress up in costumes and stuff like that. So you jumped all in the deep end in the content space. Have you had influencers, or like at one point did you feel like you needed them, so you reached out to them to like help and bring in new faces, or just to help with the marketing side? Have you ever gone down that road?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the marketing company I work with, they're actually influencer based.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they were influencers turned marketers, right? And no, I believe in influencer marketing. Like whether love, hate it, like it's we pay attention, and they cover so many spaces, so many micro spaces that like. They're super important to have, right? And they're part of the ecosystem, especially in restaurants. So, we've embraced it, and we've developed some great relationships with influencers. And it's not, not every influencer's for us. Like we have these group of people who we see eye to eye, and they come in and they don't expect to get everything free and not tip the staff. Like they make it a point like, no, we come in and you pay us, but we also tip your staff. So I think it's also finding the right type of influencers, not those that just like, I'm the king, I'm the queen, like give me everything for free, and maybe I'll post you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's a tough road to be in, but like you said, they are so important, which is very, very weird in itself, but we kind of created this monster with our phones. So, hey, more power to them. You guys are really into, or let's just say this, you guys just did like Latin nights, like First Friday. Is it a part of you know what I mean? Like this is a marketing opportunity to like grow and to change and maybe just bring new eyes in to do something like this? Or was it someone on the team telling you, hey, there's an opportunity here, let's capitalize. No one else is doing anything like this, where it's an open patio and we're having salsa night on First Friday with all these people who come out. Let's draw their attention here. What was like the genius behind that?
So, it was, look, I'm Colombian. I grew up with a family. We were just talking about, Mexican, Latin family parties. They're wild, right? There's a lot of dancing. So I grew up dancing salsa. Like I love, the Colombian salsa groups, Puerto Rican salsa groups, and my dad is an avid dancer. He's been on a couple of those Instagram reels that we've put up. No, I wanted to, always integrate the culture as a part of it, like because Makers and Finders doesn't sound like a Latin restaurant, but it's the heart and soul is like a Latin concept. So in 2018, I met this group of salseros, and we did like a pop-up with them, and they had a 5-piece band, and I was like, oh, it was amazing. And so like fast forward to 2023, and like you said, First Friday was really taking off. We are only open for brunch, so we close pretty early. We close at 4 in the Arts District, 5 at Summerlin, and 3 at Henderson. So I'm like, hey, we can open up at night and do this thing. And in 2023, we started doing it every First Friday, and like it was good. Like we kind of started, making it a thing. But then, like I felt like it got a little like oversaturated. Like people weren't really getting it. We had a good crowd, but it wasn't like it is like now, right? And then we stopped, and then I'm like, all right. Let me like go back to let me figure this out, right? And then we decided to do like a seasonal thing, like spring and fall, like the best seasons
here in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And dude, like it's just like this last year, We did it March, April, May, and then September, October, November, dude. It's wild. Like it turned into something beautiful.
Yeah. Me and my wife went to one night, dude, and I was like, oh, he really has something here.
Yeah.
Like it's the culture within itself also, you know what I mean? And then when your guys' culture gets together and there's more of them, it's even bigger party. So to be able to do that on the strip or on, Fremont down there for First Friday and have that much energy that's already there from all the locals, you really have something huge there. And you did pick the best seasons where locals actually go out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And oh man, and it's not like a Latin party anymore.
No.
Like, it's everybody.
Right.
And you see people of all walks of life, like they're dancing on the sidewalks. It just became like a really beautiful energy. And yeah, man, thank you for bringing that up because I'm so proud of that. I love what it's
your baby.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Dude, what if we can break down, I know we've touched on food costs, we touched on like rent and things like that, inflation. We've talked about the egg surge and your coffee being cost, and you are positive, right? What does it cost on like a month-to-month basis, just high-level number, unless you boil it down and you know it because you're that much in your P&L.
Yeah.
What does it cost for all 5 restaurants every single month? So you know the bare minimum, we got to make this to even get positive. Do you know what that number is?
Yeah, it's like about $300K.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of coffee.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Chilaquiles. That's a lot, dude.
Yeah, thank God they're good.
No, for real. Yeah. Has there been a moment when you've been in it where you maybe wanted to dial back to be able to cut costs and maybe, God forbid, hey, someone, is watching this as a staff member and they're like, Josh was thinking about closing summer. Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever thought about like, we got to get rid of one or two? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like that's happened a few times in my journey. Like 2023. Well, so from 2017 to 2022, we ended up opening for dinner. Okay. So we were open from morning all the way to 9 p.m., which like we were a brunch spot. We were coffee from the beginning. So dinner was always weak, right? Yeah. I actually have the breakdown. It was 86% of our revenue came before 4 p.m.
Whoa.
And that small little fraction was after 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's literally no point.
It was no point. Yeah. But it was like an ego thing.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to like accept that do I want to announce I'm no longer open for dinner? That felt like a failure, right? Mm-hmm. But man, like it took such a toll, like, it was all day something was going on. And so I had to make the choice for me, for my family. I'm like, no, let's dial it back. Right. So yeah, no, for sure. That. And then like I expanded the menu like on a couple of occasions, like a wild amount of dishes. And I brought in a chef and did all this and failed miserably. Yeah. And then I had to bring it all back in and just focus on, now we have a 1-page menu. Yep. Kept it simple, focus on the hits. Yeah. And I've had that thought many times, closing down locations, just quitting.
Yeah.
It's an active thought. Like it's something I have to wrestle with, pretty consistently.
And this is still you being as successful as you are, you know what I mean? And being so cash flow positive and having it dialed in, having a staff, having general managers, having SOPs, having the success, having the community behind you, you still have these struggles.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it to like throw a mirror at you, right? You know what you're dealing with. But I just want the audience member, the listener, the viewer to understand like it's hard, you know what I mean? And even when you get to the pinnacle, which you would think that you're at, you still got to pick yourself up. You know what I mean? You still have to, I'm Josh Molina, I got this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And move on with the next, because there's so many people that, you said it, there's so many people and families that rely on you. You know what I mean? You literally feed other families by them coming in and clocking out. Mm-hmm. That has to be empowering within itself. But on the flip side of the coin, that's stressful within itself, because you could quit and you'd be good, but your staff, would they be good? You know what I mean? So I'm sure you wrestle with this all the time, dude. And that's that Jekyll and Hyde, where if you're going to get into this world, like have an understanding of what you're getting into. You know what I mean? It's not just the glory of being a CEO and I have some neon lights and people post me on IG and you get what I mean? Like there is a lot of self-fulfillment and a lot of dopamine rush, right? That a restaurant could give you. there's a lot of I'm in the corner by myself that
Yeah.
a restaurant could give you too.
Yeah.
So I think that you really shared and shed the light on that. And I hope that that's, if anything, you know what I mean? Not trying to shy people away from taking the risk, but like have an understanding, like this is what you're looking on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it, man. The battle inside is always harder than the battle outside.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so you nailed it. Like it's mental gymnastics. You're fighting up there, and as responsibilities grow, locations grow, as you scale, so do your problems.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you know, just you gotta go in knowing that, you know, you can't quit no matter how hard it gets, and you need a good community for that.
Mm.
You need family, you need friends, you need people who understand you. Like I admit I'm not the best friend because I'm busy, like, you know, but no excuse.
Yeah.
Because friendship is a commitment, right? But like I also have friends who understand, you know, my life, and they embrace me, and it's a small group, but you know, you need to have those people around you, because if you have a bunch of yes men, they're for the ride with you, they're for the content, like that rainy season will inevitably come, and they're gonna run. They're gonna be gone.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Have you had that type of moment, or did you have that season when you're like, dude, we just opened up our second location. It was only 75 grand. I'm cash flow positive in, 30 days. Let me go out there and ball. And then reality hit and you're like, holy crap, this money that comes in, it also needs to go out. Let me reel this in and kind of mature and grow up, because you did it on your own, but you also did it at a really young age, and you hit success at a really young age. Did you learn it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. No, I learned the hard way. Yeah, there's no, at least for me, there's no other way. Like now, I'm more mindful, and I try to pay attention to the wisdom that others have, and I take that seriously. But man, I made a lot of mistakes, man. I mean, I wore it. You know, I was at 200 and almost 250 pounds in 2017, 18. I was super unhealthy.
Yeah.
I lost myself. Like I was lost, and success, money, you know, the people around you can do that. Like the temptations, like, I mean, it's Vegas, you know, we live in it. Like we're in the pit, you know what I mean? So, but you know, thankfully, thank God, thank my family, thank people around me. Like I was always brought back down to earth.
There we go.
You know?
Right on. I want to ask, I know we've kind of touched on it, but if you even have an answer to this, because you said it is so hard, you think all the time you could do this or you could do this, but you don't want to franchise. What is the vision, dude, for Makers and Finders?
Yeah. I want to continue building Makers to be synonymous with Vegas, right? Like tourists, local, like they know Makers and Finders. And I want to continue growing it. But I think that I'll do it with, you know, more partners, more people who understand the vision and are much smarter than I am. So I want to continue building it. I'm super committed to Makers, but I also, you know, I'm exploring other things as well, like the education space, real estate, other, you know, jumping on new ventures, and but Makers and Finders is my baby.
There we go.
Yeah.
I always give my guests this opportunity, and I started off and kind of package it like this. If you lost everything and the internet was scrubbed free of Josh Molina, Makers and Finders, but you had like 45 seconds just to talk to the world, what would you want to leave them with? And then what advice would you give them, like, to become successful or to overcome challenges?
Yeah. When you stop watering a plant, it will die. Never stop learning. Never assume that you know it all or that you know better, because life will inevitably and consistently always humble you. Anticipate that, and, you know, walk your walk with integrity, with gratitude, with humility, and embrace the opportunity when it's in front of you.
That was beautiful, brother.
Was that 45 seconds? No,
I think we're in there a little bit. Feel free, man. Please let the people know all your locations, where they can find you, how they can reach out to you. Who knows, if you have an open staff position, you know what I mean, how to reach out.
Yeah, so you can find us at makerslv.com. Social media at MakersLV. We have locations in the Arts District, downtown Summerlin, Henderson. We also have Take It Easy Roasters. That's takeiteasyroasters.com, at Take It Easy Roasters. If you want a really unique oasis experience with a full coffee roastery right in front of you, that's in Chinatown. So definitely check that out. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook. So I'd love to connect with you if you're looking for a position within food service. I'd love to learn more about you. And we're accepting resumes at hiring@makerslv.com.
That was awesome. Man, I just want to thank the audience so much. I want to thank you so much. And never forget that if you have the dream, you have the aspiration, double down on yourself. Even if no one else in your family or your friends don't believe in you, you believe in yourself and you double down on yourself. Because our guest just told us, Josh, it is hard and it is difficult, but you can do it if you just persevere and you push through and you continuously bet on you. It's the best bet you can make. That's today's episode.